Parkinson's disease is often described through its visible symptoms, a tremor in the hands, slower movements and changes in balance. With a cure not yet found for this fast-growing neurological disease, the reality of living with Parkinson's can be harsh. But for those who do suffer with Parkinson's, sports rehabilitation is on the way to changing that. With classes popping up all over the UK and greater pushes from Parkinson's UK, sports rehab is quickly becoming a life-changing soother for those diagnosed. Sports rehab relates to the idea that movement can help ease the symptoms of the body giving up on itself. Through sports rehab, people diagnosed with Parkinson's can learn to take control of their body again. Whilst not a sound cure for the disease, sports rehab is proving to help those diagnosed slow down the progressiveness of their condition. Parkinson's UK are just one of the organisations recommending this. To find out more, I spoke to Eleanor Halford, Area Development Manager for the East Midlands and Lincolnshire. She shared her thoughts with me on how Active Together classes are helping to improve the lives of people living with Parkinson's and to what extent the organisation recommends it.
So, exercise, physical activity is really beneficial for anyone living with Parkinson's and other neurological conditions. There's ongoing research at the moment to find out exactly why that is, but we know from the members that we speak to of local groups and from our community that actually engaging in physical exercise, whether that be going for a walk like with your dog or deciding to take the stairs, it doesn't have to be going and throwing weights around in a gym. Any sort of physical activity is really beneficial for managing symptoms. We normally recommend that people try and find a physical activity that they really enjoy so they can weave it into their lifestyle and help them live well with the condition. And a lot of people find that actually once they've done their physical activity, not only do they feel that their symptoms are, in some cases, they feel their symptoms are more controlled, but also they feel that lifted up, their mood's a lot better. I'm seeing more and more. So I'm seeing more and more groups develop. For Lincoln, for example, Lincoln was a recipient of one of our physical activity grants, running the Active Together programme. That's developed into a really solid kind of social group as well. And it's actually led to the development of our Lincoln support group, which is a purely social group. So what you've just said is those connections being made while struggling over resistance bands or playing games, that's then led to social support as well. I think more and more people, as we learn that actually physical, it didn't used to be this way. People used to see movement disorders and say, oh, maybe you should, tone down the exercise. But in the past 20 years, we've seen massive shift in that, going, actually, physical activity is really beneficial for people with movement disorder and neurological conditions. And we're seeing more groups decide that, let's give it a go. And understanding, again, that doesn't have to mean running a marathon. That can be as little as going on a little walk with your dog or your partner. So I am seeing more people, and as we do our physical activity grants, which have just launched again this year, our focus has shifted. So our focus for this year for the physical activity grant is on those people that are currently inactive, so that don't engage regularly with physical activity. And we're trying to get as many people as possible engaging in different physical activities across the UK.
It became clear that not only is sports rehab changing the lives of those diagnosed physically, but also mentally and socially too. The Lincoln City Foundation, the charity arm of the Lincoln City Football Club, are one of many organisations who are investing in the lives of those who need it. To find out more, I came down to the foundation to join in. These classes are aimed at those who live with Parkinson's. Throughout the class, the group will complete low-intensity exercise aimed at improving things such as mouth muscles, leg strength and posture. Together with Parkinson's UK, classes like these are set up across the country to bring movement to smaller communities. Philip Watson, Health and Wellbeing Leader for the Foundation and Programme Runner for the class, sat down with me to explain more.
Perfect. Very good, guys. Very good. So the Active Together group is for anybody living with Parkinson's. So they are at different stages. So they're all at different journeys of their Parkinson's disease. And one of the big things we try and look at is movement. So Parkinson's tends to be classified as movement. There's different types. So anything that improves movement, whether that's through coordination, thing called neuroplasticity, so how the brain adapts to certain movements and external environments. So I try and say this quite a lot, but if they're walking and there's curbs or there's things they're trying to avoid, we want to try and be strong enough to kind of be, being able to lift their foot onto a curb or onto the path, which will obviously improve their quality of life. So a lot of the movements we do in the session are around that. We've done some exercises to help, so there's a thing called PD Warrior, which is all about balance and challenging different movements. So it's a lot of it's movement, so trying to get people to move more. And then we do like the games and activities, which is about increasing their dopamine, so laughing, smiling. And then, as you've seen today, we've done some kind of specific stuff with their mouth expressions. So I know a lot of people have mentioned to me before about drooling, language. So unfortunately with Parkinson's, especially when they're a bit further on in their journey, they do lose their speech.
Yeah, I've seen like with a few of them like sharing their own stories of the week when we were doing when we had that week, then we were specifically like the mouth exercises. Some of them said that their medication affects it. Yeah. Is that like a common side effect of Parkinson's?
Yeah, I think it will help. So the medication will help their movement, it might help their cognitive function, but unfortunately some of the side effects might be things like drooling, especially at night time with their sleep. Their mouth tends to be open a lot more. And I think that their kind of breathing changes and their posture. I don't know if you'll probably see that in some of the sessions. So especially if they're round shouldered, they're very tight, so they're not as kind of open and especially with breathing in particular, that's probably one of the issues I've noticed a lot more is their posture changes, and that can affect obviously their...
I know you said it's some of it's about their cognitive function, like the medication helps that. Do you think the physical rehab of it is just as important as the mental stimulation then?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I totally agree. I think they go hand in hand, and I strongly believe exercise is the most powerful drug out there, whether it is improving their quality of life, their movement, just daily things like getting out of a chair. So one of the things we do a lot of is the sit to stand and leg exercises. There's a couple of guys in here today that their diagnosis has changed a little bit. So there is definitely more a degeneration of movement. So they'll have things like freezing. So they'll just all of a sudden stop for no reason. So that's really important, because they could be anywhere. They could be crossing a road, in the middle of the road, they could freeze. So if I'm able to kind of help with their movement, strengthen their legs more, hopefully that will help their quality of life.
So do you think like physical rehab and sport rehab helps sort of change the diagnosis in the lives of the people that do have Parkinson's?
Yeah, definitely. There's proven research. There's Cure for Parkinson's and Parkinson's UK, really trying to encourage physical activity, sports. So walking football is a big thing at the minute with Parkinson's, boxing, anything that improves movement, improves quality of life, will hopefully slow down the progressiveness of the disease as well, and hopefully improve their relationships with family, partners. So I think that's the other side of it is watching them. Obviously most of them come with a partner or a family member, and it's for them as well to see that, obviously hopefully we can keep that relationship going with them too, and hopefully their quality of life. I think that's the main thing, is they can keep their quality of life.
I think most of all, the most important people to talk to are those who are diagnosed. This class, which has become such an important part of my understanding of how Parkinson's can really affect people's lives, are full of inspirational and brave people. One of these people is Janine Pike, known as the debt collector, i.e. she collects the pound from everyone at the start of the classes, which is the normal fee. Janine was first diagnosed with Parkinson's 13 years ago. In that time, her condition has worsened. Her bradycardia shows more day to day, but exercise and sports rehabilitation has really made a difference in her life. Janine attends 3 classes a week, all run by the foundation, and spoke to me of how they help her along.
Gives me a confidence into walking and being able to do more. And if I was at home, don't do nothing, I'd probably sit and watch television or something. And this keeps me active, it keeps me supple. And in the extreme exercises, I can achieve more than I would hope for, hell. So it's the best thing for me. It's recommended to Parkinson's Society. That's one thing on help is guaranteed to make your exercise.
Do you think the people here as well make a big difference with it as well?
Yes, because we meet each week, we get to know each other. And yes, we encourage each other too, which is lovely. And Yeah, we're like a little team already, all together.
The lifestyle changes that sports rehabilitation can bring about can be life-changing. As well as the Foundation and Parkinson's UK, the NHS also recommend exercise for people suffering with Parkinson's. It's been proven that regular exercise is important in relieving muscle stiffness, improving your mood and relieving stress. Even as Parkinson's disease develops over time, exercise is still recommended, just at a lower intensity. This is because the difference it can make, even in the latter stages of a diagnosis, are substantial. I spoke to Ella Bebbington, NHS registered physiotherapist, as he shared his thoughts.
My name's Will. I'm a physiotherapist at Grimsby Hospital, working on the acute wards.
Would you like to explain to me how Parkinson's can be helped by rehab sports overall?
Yeah, so I think Parkinson's as a whole can be helped by any sort of exercise, to be fair. So with, it's doing what you were able to do. So for someone who is not very mobile, but has Parkinson's, doing the smallest things like getting up to the toilet and making sure you're moving up throughout the day is good for you. But someone who's a bit more able-bodied, they could be doing strength training, sort of low-intensity cardio stuff, high-intensity exercise, and this can all help with slowing down the progression of the disease, and also it can sort of reverse some of the effects of it as well.
Would you recommend sort of exercise classes, and more not just for the physical side of it, but also for the mental side of it as well?
Yeah, so I think having a structured programme in terms of an exercise class would be really good, because it motivates you, but it also means that there's some accountability there to go to a class as well. And then from the mental point of view, especially if you're with other people who have Parkinson's, I feel like it's good to sort of share experiences, and it can give you a more positive light on the condition as well.
Do you think as a physiotherapist then you would recommend sort of sport as a sort of rehabilitation as opposed to other sort of methods?
I think it's important for anyone with Parkinson's to try and do exercise, whether that's sort of sport, like you say, or just general physical activity. And I think it can be effective alongside sort of medical management as well.
Through the time I spent with my support group, with my interviewees, and the time I spent researching Parkinson's, I've come to a clear understanding. Whilst Parkinson's is something that cannot be cured, though it is hoped that one day it will be, sports rehabilitation is one of, if not the key factor, in managing and keeping it under control. Exercise, as it is for anyone, is helpful in maintaining bone and muscle strength and is particularly important for people living with Parkinson's. The exercise suppresses the common side effects of the disease. The tremors and drooling become less so. For some people, it can be life-changing, with stories of people learning to walk again and learning to live with a disease that would otherwise get worse. For carers and family also, sports rehabilitation is as important to them. It offers a place for them to relax and help their loved ones in a controlled environment. Classes like the ones at Lincoln City are key places for this, with support from Parkinson's UK making it easier and more accessible across smaller communities. Sports rehabilitation is on its way to being the modern day drug for people living with Parkinson's whilst a cure is found.